Greetings, traveler. You've found your way back to the Silver Quill Corner. I am Grayfen, the story keeper. Long ago, when I was bound to an ancient wizarding family, I learned that stories carry a magic older than time itself. Here, we drift through wizarding tales, enchanted histories, and the deeper lore of the Harry Potter world, drawn from every shadowed corner of magic. If the murmur of quills and the echo of old corridors bring you peace, press like, subscribe. The bells have been heard across the world tonight. Tell me, Keeper, from what city, realm, or corner of the world are you listening? I'd love to know how far these stories have reached. Tonight we journey through the most powerful magic ever cast, not the spells in textbooks, but the ancient forces that shaped the wizarding world itself. Few know the truth. When Voldemort rebuilt his body with Harry's blood, he bound himself to the very protection meant to destroy him. Fleur's beauty is no charm at all, but Veela fire, a heritage that can ignite with stormlight. Tonks's gift, the shape-shifting, falters the moment the heart fractures. And a Patronus? In the hands of masters, it becomes a messenger made of memory and light. So let us wander, traveler, from fire that thinks, to shields that judge, to secrets that erase themselves, to wands that choose their own justice. There are spells that mend what is broken, and spells that shine like lantern light in long corridors. But a few, just 3, were forged in an age when wizards feared the shadows inside themselves more than any enemy. Spells whispered into existence by those who understood that magic can wound the soul as easily as flesh. We call them unforgivable, not because the ministry declared it so, but because a wizard who casts them steps across a threshold the soul does not easily return from. Walk softly now, traveler. The air grows colder here. Cruciatus, the curse that screams without sound. Pain has shapes. Broken bone, burning cut, the quiet ache of loss. But the Cruciatus curse digs deeper, past muscle, past memory, down into the delicate threads that hold a person's consciousness together. Under its grip, time unravels, thought shatters. The world becomes nothing but agony without breath or voice. Frank and Alice Longbottom once stood unflinching before the Dark Lord's shadow, but Bellatrix Lestrange did not defeat them. She unmade them, tearing their minds apart until even their own son became a stranger in their eyes. And here lies the truth wizard kind does not enjoy admitting. Cruciatus cannot be cast by accident. It demands cruelty, intent sharpened to a needlepoint. When Harry cast it in the ministry, grief drove him, fury shook him, but he did not take pleasure in the pain he meant to inflict. So the curse slipped through his fingers like water. Cruciatus is not simply a weapon, it is a measure, a mirror showing the caster exactly how much humanity they have left to lose. Imperious, the softest, deadliest silence. If Cruciatus breaks the mind, Imperious steals it gently. It wraps the victim in a warm, drifting haze, a dream where obedience feels natural, even pleasant. The body obeys, but the self sinks quietly beneath the surface, like a candle lowered into deep water. During the First Wizarding War, the ministry's corridors filled with puppets who smiled as they betrayed their own world. Voices soft, eyes calm, minds hollowed out by a single whispered command. Only a rare few can resist it. Harry did, not because of exceptional magical power, but because something wild and stubborn inside him refused to kneel for anyone. Imperious rarely shouts. It doesn't need to. A kingdom can fall just as easily to gentle obedience as to violence. There is the curse every witch and wizard speaks of in lowered tones. A flash of green, a rush of displaced air. No wound, no smoke, only stillness. Avada Kedavra does not kill the body, it cuts the soul free from it, clean, immediate, irreversible. Avada Kedavra can be stopped by physical barriers, statues, gravestones, collapsing stone, but no magical shield will hold against it. It shears through enchantments like silk. Yet the terror of this curse lies not in its power, but in the heart required to cast it. To perform it, a wizard must want death with calm, deliberate certainty. No panic, no rage, just intention sharpened into finality. Most wands recoil from such darkness. Some refuse entirely. And Harry Potter? He did not survive because of a Horcrux. He lived because his mother's sacrifice wrapped him in an ancient protection Voldemort could neither comprehend nor break. Years later, when the Dark Lord struck again, the Elder Wand refused to kill its true master, and the curse turned back on the hand that cast it. Avada Kedavra ended Voldemort's life, but only because Voldemort never understood the magic that stood against him. The truth beneath the three dark magic does not begin with a wand. It begins with a choice. A choice to cause agony, a choice to steal autonomy, a choice to end a life. That is why these spells are feared, not for the devastation they unleash, but for the devastation they require. For once a wizard chooses to cross that threshold, something within them changes, and some changes, traveler, are one-way doors. There are spells so old, so volatile, that even their names feel singed at the edges. Most destructive magics scorch stone or shatter bone, but one spell devours everything, including the wizard foolish enough to summon it. Fiend fire, not ordinary flame, not enchanted flame, but cursed fire that thinks. It begins as a spark, quiet, almost innocent, until the magic inside it stirs awake. Then the fire births creatures of molten wrath, serpents whose jaws drip gold, lions burning white as dying stars, towering chimera that tear the very air as they pass. Each flame creature chooses its prey, each hunts with eerie purpose, each answers to nothing but the chaos that created it. Fiend fire is one of the only forces in existence capable of destroying a Horcrux. Magic so foul that most spells recoil from it. Only basilisk venom, the killing curse, and fiend fire can shatter such dark enchantments. But while Horcruxes resist death, fiend fire resists control. Few wizards have dared summon it. Fewer have lived long enough to regret it. Its danger lies not merely in fire, but in the mirror it holds up to the caster. A blaze born from rage does not obey mercy. A blaze born from fear does not obey courage. A blaze conjured for murder will try to murder everything it touches. Even Voldemort, who carved his soul into relics like a craftsman shaping obsidian, refused to wield fiend fire himself. He understood the oldest truth of cursed flame. Any wizard who summons fiend fire must already accept their own death, for the fire acknowledges no master. Centuries of magical study agree on one chilling fact. There is no reliable counterspell, no precise extinguishing charm, no safe retreat. Fiend fire burns until all is ash, stone, enchantment, history, even magic. And in Hogwarts' final hours, a single reckless spark proved it. Vincent Crabbe, desperate, frightened, grasping for power far beyond his reach, unleashed the cursed fire in the Room of Requirement. The spark unfurled into a golden serpent, then a lion, then a dragon so vast it cracked the world around it. The room became a furnace of predators, each one turning burning eyes toward the living. The fire killed Crabbe within moments. It devoured the chamber itself. But in its ravenous path it consumed something else, something even its caster could not comprehend. Rowena Ravenclaw's diadem, a Horcrux Voldemort believed untouchable. Fiendfire succeeded where some of the greatest witches and wizards of the age might have failed. But that is the nature of cursed magic, unpredictable, absolute, and indifferent to the ambitions of the hand that conjures it. There are shields that block, there are shields that soften, and then, rare as celestial alignments, there are shields that judge. Protego Diabolica belongs to the last of these. Most students know Protego as a shimmer of safety, a brief gleam between oneself and danger, simple, trustworthy, predictable. But Grindelwald reached deeper. He forged a shield that did not defend the body, but revealed the soul. When conjured, Protego Diabolica rises as a ring of black-blue flame, shadows stitched with faint violet glints, a fire whose patterns predate language itself. It does not repel spells, it chooses. Those who stand with the caster, aligned in loyalty, in belief, in conviction, pass through untouched. The flame bends, breathes, accepts. Those who hesitate, those whose hearts tug even a fraction out of alignment, are swallowed without sound, not in agony, not in spectacle. Only a thin breath of ash drifting where a body once stood. Protego Diabolica is not a wall, it is a verdict. This is why Grindelwald wielded it with such terrifying grace. To him, it was not destruction, but purification. A test forged from belief. Grindelwald demanded something Voldemort never truly achieved: ideological loyalty, not loyalty born of fear. Protego Diabolica ensured it. Even the bravest dark wizards feared its ring of judgment, for most spells threaten your life. This one threatens who you are. Finite can break the spell, but only when the caster has already departed, and the flame has no will left to anchor itself. The magic collapses like a storm running out of sky, its verdict lingering even when the fire dissolves. At the Lestrange Mausoleum, Grindelwald's flame didn't merely incinerate enemies. It expanded outward, devouring stone, swallowing air, unfolding like a winged shadow across the tomb. He wasn't judging individuals, he was judging the world. To conjure such magic requires more than power. It demands unwavering certainty, belief as unyielding as iron and as perilous as prophecy. Few could summon it, fewer could stand within it, for within those dark flames lies one of the wizarding world's oldest truths. Light protects, darkness destroys, but belief, true belief, chooses. And that is the kind of magic Grindelwald mastered better than anyone. There are spells that split mountains, spells that summon storms, spells that end a life with nothing but a breath. And then there is the Patronus Charm, a spell so gentle, so luminous, that even the darkest magic pauses when it appears. It does not boom or blaze, it glows, it remembers. A Patronus does not begin with the wand, but somewhere deeper, in a memory warm enough to survive despair. For most witches and wizards, such a memory is fragile, tangled with grief, or simply too far away to grasp. That is why the charm is rare. It requires truth, not talent. Yet when it forms, silver and steady as moonlit water, it becomes one of the purest forces in existence. Most spells push darkness aside. A Patronus purifies it. Dementors, predators that drain hope until nothing human remains, recoil from this silver light, not because it harms them, but because it reveals what they cannot consume. Joy given shape, love remembered, warmth made living again. When a wizard casts a Patronus, they are not simply defending themselves. They are declaring, even now, even here, I still remember who I am. Harry Potter discovered this beside the Black Lake, when the swarm closed around him and the world turned to frost. He had believed the stag he saw on the far shore belonged to his father, a ghost of comfort sent to save him. But the truth arrived like a spark catching dry kindling. He was the one who cast it. A boy of 13, carrying more sorrow than most grown men, reached for every scrap of light he had ever known. Laughter glimpsed in memories, the kindness he'd found, the fragile certainty that he had been loved. And the stag erupted from his wand in a blaze so fierce it lit the lake as though dawn rose beneath the ice. Not because he was powerful, but because he understood emptiness well enough to treasure even the smallest flame. That is the paradox. The Patronus does not measure strength, it measures hope. Some Patronuses charge forward as mighty beasts, wolves, lions, phoenixes with wings like silver fire. Others arrive quietly, a small bird, a timid mouse, a creature delicate enough to vanish if you blink. But every Patronus is an act of defiance. Dumbledore refined the spell further than anyone since its creation. His Phoenix Patronus was so bright it seemed to sing, scattering shadows simply by being. He even shaped Patronuses into messengers, silver envoys of thought and voice that glided through walls like living starlight. A silver doe gliding through a forest under falling snow, soft, serene, impossibly gentle, Snape's Patronus, a creature formed not from triumph, but from a love that endured long after joy had left his life. When Dumbledore saw it, his voice softened, as if centuries of understanding had condensed into a single breath. After all this time, Snape answered with the truth he had carried in silence. Always. Magic cannot grow from lies. A Patronus reveals the heart, and the doe revealed his. That is why the charm is considered one of the most ancient and sacred magics ever crafted. Not because it destroys, but because it refuses to be destroyed. It is memory turned into armor, emotion shaped into a guardian. When a Dementor approaches, breath chilling the air, pulling joy from the bones themselves, the Patronus flickers, then stands firm, silver and unwavering, as if whispering, "You may steal warmth, you may taste sorrow, but you cannot take what has already been lived." In the end, that is the secret of the Patronus charm. Light remembers you, even when you forget yourself. Some spells defend a single witch, some defend a family line, but only a precious few defend a place, its stones, its memories, its very heartbeat. Protego Maxima is one of those rare enchantments. It is not a simple charm, it is a construction. Most shields behave like glass, forming, shattering, reforming. Protego Maxima behaves like architecture, a wall of woven magic built layer by steady layer, intention threaded through every syllable. During the Battle of Hogwarts, that wall rose over the castle like a glowing dome, a shimmering aurora of gold and silver rippling across the sky. Students and teachers stood below in hushed awe as the shield pulsed like a living thing. It was not simply protection, it was declaration. Minerva McGonagall, Flitwick, Slughorn, Sprout, masters of their craft, each carrying a lifetime of experience, stood shoulder to shoulder. Their voices didn't roar, they harmonized, steady and united, like a choir calling an ancient spell back to life. Their shield did not shine because they were powerful, it shone because they were devoted, and Hogwarts answered them. Ancient magical places develop a kind of sentience, a memory of every laughter-filled corridor, every enchanted lesson, every sacrifice made within their walls. When the professors raised Protego Maxima, the castle did not simply shelter beneath it, it joined them. Then Voldemort arrived. His magic struck the dome with the violence of a tempest. Each blow rippled across the shield like thunder rolling through glass mountains. But the barrier held. It held longer than any single witch or wizard could have sustained alone. Because Protego Maxima is communal magic, it strengthens itself with unity. McGonagall's fierce loyalty, Flitwick's brilliance, Slughorn's regret, Sprout's steadfastness, the castle's ancient memory, all of it wove together, layering into a defense rooted not in force, but in shared purpose. Voldemort fought with solitary strength. Hogwarts fought with collective will, and collective will can crack stone. When the barrier finally shattered, it broke with a sound like a celestial bell. Light rained down in glittering shards, drifting over battlements like falling stars. But its collapse was not defeat. It was fulfillment. The barrier endured long enough for hope to gather, long enough for courage to ignite, long enough for the defenders of Hogwarts to rise to their moment. That is the essence of Protego Maxima, not invincibility, constancy. A spell that says, we will hold the line as long as we must, together. Even now, Very few witches or wizards can cast it. The ministry restricts its teaching. Dark wizards have attempted to twist its logic and failed. Voldemort never mastered it. Even Dumbledore favored enchantments woven from his own brilliance rather than this deep, communal magic. For Protego Maxima is not meant for conquest. It is meant for guardianship, the kind drawn from shared memories, shared hope, shared love for a place worth defending. It stands not because the magic is strong, but because the people behind it are. Some wands obey, some resist. But one wand in all of wizarding history does something far more dangerous. It judges. The Elder Wand was not crafted for kindness. It was born in an age when wizards carved their legends into bone and stone, when death walked beside every duel, and power was measured by those still left standing. Elderwood and thestral hair, death made tangible, fate sharpened into a handle. Most wands choose their witch or wizard. This wand chooses their truth. It has watched centuries unfold. It remembers every spell cast through it, every betrayal, every hand trembling around its hilt, and its allegiance does not turn toward brilliance or brutality, but toward mastery proven through conquest. That is the mistake so many wizards make. They believe the Elder Wand follows strength. And that is why he returned it to Dumbledore's tomb, a relic laid to rest by the only wizard brave enough to refuse it. Long before the ministry, long before the founders, long before wands carved their first sparks into the air, there was a magic older than spells themselves, a magic that does not answer to incantations, technique, or ambition, a magic that rises only when a soul makes a choice so profound the universe bends to hear it. Sacrificial protection. It is not written in books. It cannot be taught by professors. It does not flow from a wand. It blooms from the heart at the moment it chooses love over life. Lily Potter did not cast a spell that night in Godric's Hollow. She simply stood between death and her child. No shield, no countercurse, only a mother refusing to step aside. And the oldest magic in existence, the magic woven into creation long before wizards learned to name it, rose in answer. Avada Kedavra consumed the air, but when it touched Lily's sacrifice, it shattered. Death struck the body but was denied the soul, and the protection her choice created wrapped itself around Harry like a silent second heartbeat. It lived in his skin. It burned beneath Voldemort's touch. It followed him every year he returned to Privet Drive, carried in the blood he shared with Petunia. The Dursleys were not chosen out of sentiment. They were chosen because ancient magic requires blood to anchor itself. And Voldemort, in all his brilliance, all his cruelty, made the mistake that sealed his fate. In the graveyard, when he used Harry's blood to rebuild his body, he believed he was tearing that protection away. Instead, he tied himself to it, bound by the very magic he wanted to destroy. He made Harry's survival inevitable, as long as Voldemort lived. Years later, in the Forbidden Forest, when Harry met death willingly, the sacrifice renewed itself, broader now, deeper, spreading like dawn across every soul fighting for Hogwarts. Voldemort struck him again, and again the magic refused him. The curse tore away the fragment of soul lodged inside Harry, but the boy it had clung to walked back from the brink untouched. And when he returned to the castle, something changed in the very air. Spells cast at Harry's allies sputtered, curses weakened, shields held longer than they should have. A strange calm moved through the battlefield, unnoticed but undeniable. Harry had done what his mother once did, and his sacrifice extended to everyone willing to stand with him. In the final duel, when Voldemort's fury cracked the Great Hall and the Elder Wand hesitated in his grip, all the threads of ancient magic snapped into place. Lily's protection, Harry's choice, the wand's allegiance, a lifetime of love offered again and again by those who believed in him. The green light flew, Expelliarmus rose to meet it, and, for the first time, Voldemort met a force he could neither control nor comprehend. He fell to a magic that has no spellwork, no flourish, no darkness capable of matching it, a choice freely made, a life willingly offered, a love that stood its ground. Some battles shake the ground, some crack the sky, but the most dangerous of all happen in silence, where no light flares, no wand strikes, and victory is measured in the thoughts one manages to keep hidden. Legilimency and occlumency, two branches of ancient magic older than dueling, older than prophecy, older even than the first stone laid in Hogwarts' foundations. They are not tricks of mind-reading or simple acts of resistance. They are war, fought in the quiet spaces where truths and secrets collide. For the Legilimens, a mind is a landscape. Emotions rise like storms, memories ripple like reflections on deep water, lies shimmer thin and brittle, fear tastes sharp, guilt pulls like gravity. For the victim, it feels like a door forced open, a memory dragged into the light, a feeling exposed before it forms, a thought stolen before it can be named. Tom Riddle possessed the talent long before he held a wand. At Wool's orphanage he saw too much, sensed deception, felt guilt, peered through intentions as though they were panes of glass. Dumbledore recognized it instantly, not because it made Tom powerful, but because Tom enjoyed it. By the time Voldemort rose to power, legilimency was as natural as breathing. He could sift a mind before a word was spoken. He could peel back a fear with the ease of a man lifting a veil. His followers learned quickly that a secret kept from him was a death sentence, unless one possessed an art even rarer, occlumency. If legilimency is intrusion, occlumency is survival. While others shield their thoughts like castle walls, Severus Snape shielded his like a mirror, reflecting only what he wished Voldemort to see, hiding oceans beneath the surface. To lie to the Dark Lord is to stand at the edge of a blade that never moves, never shakes, never misses. Yet Snape held that edge for years, a mind sharpened by pain into discipline, memories arranged like books on shelves, thoughts curated, edited, stitched into illusion. He became the one wizard Voldemort could not break. Not because Snape was stronger, but because Snape could endure stillness so total that even fear had no foothold. Harry never asked for this war. The connection between him and Voldemort forged the Night Lily's protection, rebounded the curse, tethered their minds in a way no spell ever intended. At first, Harry glimpsed only fragments, a corridor, a serpent, a door. Then grief widened the bond. Rage sharpened it, and Voldemort saw opportunity. The vision of Sirius tortured in the Department of Mysteries was not a mistake. It was a trap woven from Harry's own emotions, a legilimens using empathy as bait. This is why occlumency mattered. Because when the mind stands unguarded, the enemy does not need to strike. They can simply guide you toward your own destruction. Yet occlumency is rarer than any curse, not because it requires strength, but because it requires stillness, to sit inside your own thoughts without flinching, to confront your fears without letting them breathe, to silence every instinct that rises like a storm. Snape could do it, carved by grief into discipline. Dumbledore could do it, tempered by wisdom. Voldemort could not, his soul fractured into too many pieces to ever hold steady. And therein lies the final irony. The greatest legilimens of the age could invade any mind except his own. During the final battle, Voldemort tried again and again to claw into Harry's thoughts, seeking panic, doubt, terror. But the moment Harry accepted death in the forest, his mind closed, completely, peacefully, untouchably. A mind at peace cannot be invaded. And in that stillness, that perfect quiet occlumency forged not by training but by love and acceptance, Voldemort lost the one war he never understood, the war behind the eyes. Some magic is cast outward into the world, and some is cast inward into the self. Transfiguration belongs to the second kind, the oldest kind, the kind whispered about long before Hogwarts had stone walls or names. It is not a spell, but a negotiation between will and world, between intention and identity, between the form you wear and the truth you try to hide. Even the bravest students tremble at the first lesson in human transfiguration, because the danger is never theoretical. Every witch and wizard knows, if you miscast this branch of magic, the world does not gently snap you back. It makes you live with what you became. When the animagus rite is spoken of, people imagine elegance, McGonagall shifting into a tabby cat with quiet grace. But that grace was carved from months of discipline. The animagus transformation is not taught, it is earned. Imagine a mandrake leaf resting beneath your tongue for an entire lunar cycle, day after day, night after night, knowing that one careless swallow, one sneeze, one moment of sleep with your mouth open would force you to start again. And when that month ends, the storm begins. Lightning cracking the sky, a potion brewed from the leaf you guarded, and your name spoken into the wind as magic decides whether to reshape you or break you. Magic chooses the form, not desire, not fantasy, not ego. It reveals the creature your soul has always been. James Potter's stag, noble, watchful. Sirius Black's great black dog, loyal to the end. Peter Pettigrew's rat, small, frightened, drawn to dark corners. Magic does not flatter. It tells the truth you would rather avoid. And when the change begins, there is no safe, gentle halfway. You either complete the transformation with your mind intact, or you remain trapped somewhere between instinct and flesh. St. Mungo's whispers of such fates quietly, regretfully, never loudly enough for students to hear. Transfiguration becomes something else entirely in the hands of masters. In the Ministry Atrium duel, the one still spoken of like myth, Dumbledore's wand barely moved, yet statues woke. Stone rippled into muscle, and the inanimate remembered how to protect. Voldemort matched him blow for blow. His serpentine face, wax pale, distorted, was transfiguration too, but born of a soul carved apart by Horcruxes, until his body forgot how to be human. Against a master transfigurist, nothing in the world stays safe. Your wand turns to a snake, your shield to smoke, the ground to molten glass. This magic is feared, even by the powerful, because the cost of failure is not pain, it is permanence. A miscast charm can heal, a curse can be blocked, a potion can be antidoted. But if you twist your form incorrectly, even for a heartbeat, the spell does not return your bones where they belong. Some wizards live out their years half-shifted, voices caught between human breath and animal rasp, their bodies reverting unpredictably with emotion. Magic does not pity those who attempt to rewrite their own flesh. Thus, the discipline required goes beyond talent. It demands emotional stillness, a mind untouched by panic, a will steadier than instinct. Only a handful in a century ever become true masters, for at the center of all transfiguration lies a difficult truth. The world listens to your intention, but your body listens deeper. It remembers grief. It remembers bravery. It remembers the creature you have been trying all your life to become. Traveler. You can lie to professors. You can lie to enemies. You can even lie to yourself. But transfiguration looks straight into your soul and shapes you accordingly. It is not merely a magical discipline. It is a mirror that moves. Chapter 14. Traveler. Some spells bend the world. Apparition breaks it. To apparate is to step into a moment not built for human bodies, a seam between here and not here, and trust that magic will stitch you back together on the other side. Most wizards pretend not to fear it, joking about splinching the way soldiers joke about old wounds, humor draped carefully over horror, because everyone knows the truth. Apparition is the closest a living wizard ever comes to dying on purpose. One moment you exist, the next you are unmade. A pressure collapses inward, as if the world clenches its fist and you are caught inside its grip. There is no light, no breath, no sound, only a violent pull, a crushing squeeze, all thought narrowing to the destination you cling to like a lifeline. And then, air punches back into your lungs, feet find ground that wasn't there a heartbeat ago, and your body knits itself together from intention and will. If you're lucky, this is why apparition is spoken of in whispers, a threshold even the bold approach with caution. One miscast thought, one flicker of doubt, one image not held with perfect clarity, and you arrive incomplete. A fingertip left behind, a strip of skin, a piece of memory. Magic is forgiving, reality is not. This is why Hogwarts forbids it. The founders sealed the castle with wards thicker than any fortress. Ravenclaw believed learning must be grounded. Gryffindor believed courage should be chosen, not escaped. Hufflepuff believed safety should not depend on haste. And Slytherin, the strategist, insisted no enemy should ever appear behind students unannounced. 1,000 years later, the ward still holds. Even Voldemort could not break it. Masters of apparition move like wind through the world. Dumbledore drifted like smoke. One moment beside you, the next at the far edge of the world, already thinking 10 steps ahead. Voldemort, by contrast, tore through space like a blade splitting fabric. His arrivals cracked like thunder, violence wrapped in black mist. Even their styles reveal their truths. Dumbledore treated apparition as a conversation. Voldemort treated it as a command. Side-along apparition is the most intimate of all, not travel, but guardianship, holding another person inside that split second of unbeing, keeping their breath, their shape, their magic bound to yours while neither of you technically exists. It is trust made physical, and still, apparition breaks some wizards, not because it is powerful, not because it is difficult, but because it demands something most cannot bear: absolute certainty. A mind scattered by fear can splinch itself. A heart divided between destinations can tear itself in two. Some wizards spend their whole lives avoiding apparition because they cannot face the moment of unmaking, that fraction of a breath where the body dissolves and all that remains is direction and will. Yet others chase it like freedom, slipping between the teeth of the world and emerging somewhere new, as if the journey leaves behind more than distance. Whether feared or adored, apparition changes everyone who survives it. It leaves behind a quiet knowledge that you have walked through the dark spine of reality and returned whole. Traveler, there is no magic more honest than apparition. It does not reveal the strength of your wand, but the truth of your intention. In the instant your body dissolves, your soul chooses where you reappear, and magic always answers. Some branches of magic cannot be learned. They arrive with a witch or wizard like a secret sewn into the spirit, old as bloodlines, unpredictable as storms, powerful as prophecy. These gifts shape destiny long before a wand ever chooses its master. Parseltongue is one of the oldest, not speech, communion, a language whispered from an age before wands, before Hogwarts, before even wizard kind understood what magic could become. Salazar Slytherin spoke it. His descendants carried it like a curse threaded into bone. The Gaunts, their madness, their pride, revealed how serpent language can coil too tightly around a family tree. But Harry's gift was different. It did not come from lineage. It came from a scar. The moment Voldemort's soul latched to his, Parseltongue brushed against Harry's mind like borrowed instinct. And when the Horcrux inside him died, the voice of serpents died too, a gift that saved him, and vanished the moment he became whole. Some magics are blessings, some are burdens. Parseltongue was both. Then there are metamorph magi, the face changers, travelers between selves. Tonks, bright-haired and brilliant, could shift her features with a laugh, sculpting bone and color with nothing but will. No glamour, no potion, just instinct. This magic is rare, so rare that generations pass without a single child carrying it. But beneath the whimsy lies extraordinary power. A metamorph magus can vanish into a crowd, slip past detection spells, survive wars others would not. And yet even this gift bows to emotion. When Tonk's heart broke, her magic dimmed. She could not change herself because grief changed her first. Some gifts are powerful, some are fragile. Few are both. There are seers too, the vision-bound. Prophecy is not a craft. It is a burden carried by those the future refuses to leave untouched. Trelawney, for all her eccentricity, channeled a prophecy that shaped the fate of two wizards and the war between them. Seers do not choose when visions come. They strike like storms, leaving the bearer gasping in the aftermath, their voice echoing truths they will not remember speaking. And those who hear them often shape destiny far more than the ones who utter them. Truth wrapped in riddle, accurate but never simple. Some witches carry Vila blood, beauty woven with enchantment, ancestry stitched with stormlight. Fleur Delacour shimmered with that inherited magic. Her allure was not vanity, it was elemental, something ancient responding to her heartbeat. In anger, Vila blood flares, not metaphorically, literally. Fire in the body, charm in the air, beauty sharpened into danger. Such gifts complicate life. Admiration comes with resentment. Desire comes with suspicion. The wizarding world fears what it cannot replicate. And this leads us to the oldest truth of all. Magic is not merely something wizards learn, it is something they are. A language no one else speaks, a face that shifts like water, a prophecy lodged in the bones, a bloodline glowing brighter than spellwork. These are gifts that cannot be taught, controlled, or copied. They remind us that magic is more than craft. It is inheritance, it is instinct, it is identity, and sometimes it is fate. There are spells that shake the air, curses that split the world. But beneath all wandwork lies a magic so ancient it does not answer to technique at all. This is the magic that breathed through the cliffs before Hogwarts existed. The magic that curls inside rivers, stones, and bloodlines. The kind Dumbledore approached with reverence and the kind Voldemort could never understand. You see traces of it everywhere. Ceilings that mirror the sky. Staircases that wander when they please. A lake whose depths obey no season and no spell. These are not classroom enchantments. They are remnants of a world that remembers the sorcery that shaped it. It is the same old power that once answered 3 brothers at a lonely crossroads. 3 gifts, 3 warnings disguised as triumph. The Elder Wand, a weapon carved so precisely it reveals the heart of its wielder. Wizards spent centuries chasing it, believing domination would grant destiny. But the wand has never served strength. It serves truth. It follows the wizard who stands without deceit, even a boy with crooked glasses and borrowed courage. The Resurrection Stone, a fragment of longing made real. Its magic is soft, cold, and unflinchingly honest. The dead are not meant to be reclaimed. They can touch us only through memory's warmth. And the cloak, the quietest of the hallows, the one death least regretted giving. It does not hide the body alone. It hides the destiny tied to it. A shield crafted not for deception but for protection. Together, wizards claimed these artifacts could make one the master of death. But traveler, that was always a misunderstanding. Death does not bow to relics. Death bows to the one who stops running. This is the truth wizards fear most. You may study every spell, collect every artifact, master every ritual, But magic follows the soul more than the wand. It bends toward those who carry themselves whole and turns against those who carve themselves empty. That is why Lily's sacrifice outshone Voldemort's centuries of obsession. Why Harry's walk into the forest echoed louder than any curse he ever cast. Why spells powered by cruelty crack and spells powered by conviction endure. Old magic is not impressed by power. It answers love freely given, loyalty held through fear, courage chosen step by trembling step, and sacrifice made with no promise of reward. That is why Voldemort fell. Not because Harry knew more spells, but because Voldemort severed himself from the very forces that give magic its meaning. In the end, the most powerful force in the wizarding world was not a relic, nor a wand, nor a curse carved in legend. It was a truth simple enough for a child to understand. A soul that remains whole draws magic to it. A soul torn apart is betrayed by the power it craves. So remember this, traveler. The greatest spells are not those that split mountains or call fire from the sky. They are the quiet ones. A shield cast instinctively for a friend, a Patronus born from one cherished memory, a step taken toward danger for the sake of someone else. That is the magic the old world honors. That is the lesson the Hallows whispered. That is the truth Voldemort could not grasp, and Harry lived without ever meaning to teach it. In the end, the wizarding world was not saved by a master of death, but by a boy who met it unarmed and unafraid. If you've walked beside me through every shadowed corridor, every forgotten spell and whispered legend, then you've learned something most witches and wizards take a lifetime to grasp. Magic is not in the wand. It is in the choices made when the wand is quiet. We've crossed the darkest curses spoken, seen fire that thinks and shields that judge, traced the Hallows through blood and myth, and watched the rise and ruin of those who chased power too hungrily. And still, beneath all that storm and spectacle, something gentler endured. A Patronus shaped from love, a cloak meant to protect, not deceive, a sacrifice that rippled through generations, a courage that stepped forward even when doom waited ahead. These are the forces that shaped destinies. These are the magics that outlast victory and outlive fear. So as our lantern dims tonight, carry this final truth with you. A wizard's greatest power is not what they can conjure, but what they are willing to stand for. Until the next journey, traveler, may your wand stay steady, your heart stay whole, and your path be lit. Even in the darkest forest, the silver quill grows brighter because you return.